You know, this might be what's called a movie gun. This is a gun that guys see in movies, maybe some video games, and they just think it's really cool, and they believe everything they see about it. And I'll be honest with you, most of the reviews I do is because I want to promote an item, whether it's a gun, you know, a knife, maybe a piece of outdoor tactical gear. It's something that I believe in and I wish to promote it. It's very rarely I'll do a review on things that I don't want to promote. However, sometimes I will, and that's especially if I get like a lot of emails and I get tired of answering the same old question over and over again. And that's what has happened with this Taurus Judge. A lot of guys go, hey, God, come on, review that Taurus Judge. Okay, here it comes. You're probably not going to like it, but here's your review. As usual, Nutnfancy myself, I'm going to keep it real, and I'm going to go down my talking points on the pistol review. And we'll talk about the Taurus Judge, and you can make your own decision. Now, before we launch down that road, and I'm going to be critical in several areas of the gun, as you've probably figured out already, but we need to separate this gun into two types of cool. Like I've mentioned before, as you can see in annotation, I have a whole video explaining what I mean by that. The first type is usefulness, practicality in its POU, philosophy of use. Or, second type of cool is you just like it. You know, you dig it. Well, apparently neither types of those cools were enough for the previous owner of this gun because they sold it. This is a used Taurus. I'm at Impact Guns. Thank you, Impact, for hosting the review. And this is in their counter to be sold again. But it is a used Taurus Judge. So I guess for whatever reason, the owner didn't dig it that much. Wonder why. Let's start off, and I'm going to try to go quick on this review because, well, honestly, I'm not really digging it so much. So I don't have ton to say. So like I say in my other reviews, if I have, you know, if I'm with an item I really love, I can speak a lot about it, a lot about the POU application, whatnot. POU on this gun, and this is one reason I think it's kind of limited, or my like for it is very limited, is because the POU is limited. This is a very limited function gun, if you ask me. It's a very large revolver, okay, and that'll get to size and weight. It's mostly a size issue with this model. And I look in the annotation for this specific model, but it's one of the Ultra-Lite hammerless versions of the Taurus Judge. It's big, and that means it's not going to be concealable unless you're wearing a big jacket and carrying it in an appropriate holster. In that case, it probably is concealable. But for most of us, we would not want to be porting around a Taurus Judge as opposed to, I don't know, all kinds of other guns. PF9, CAR, Glock, some SIGs, H&Ks, all would be smaller. Maybe not lighter, because this is a very light gun. The Ultra-Lite's only 25 ounces, but it's big. And that's going to limit its philosophy of use. How are you going to carry this gun? And more importantly, why are you going to carry this gun? I think since it has a shot shell chambering, i.e. the 410 shot shell, I have told guys this in emails, and you will remember this. I think the Taurus Judge would be an excellent snake gun. If I lived down in Texas and I was in areas where there were a lot of snakes, or anywhere in the world, and I wanted to have a gun that was ready to rock and roll, short range, against some poisonous type snakes, Taurus Judge would be a good choice. It'll hold 5 rounds of 410 shot shell. You can pick your size of shot you want. You know, maybe number 7.5, 6. Heck, you can go some buckshot if you want it, although the payload will be very limited with that 410 shot shell. I forget exactly how many. However, for snakes, I think the gun would be great. What else? POU. Defensive gun? Well, surely it would serve the purpose, but again, it's big. And remember, the first rule of a gunfight is to have a gun on you. Okay, so I would venture to say that most owners of Judges are not packing them around day to day in a concealed carry role. I can pretty much guarantee you that. If they are, they're probably going to give it up after a time. That's been my experience throughout the years. The large, big guns sooner or later get left home in rule of law because there's not a lot going on. They're like, I'm not really taking it today. That's it. That's the POU on this gun. Snake gun, close, very close range defensive gun, kind of in your face. I would not be comfortable engaging targets with this gun out to 25 yards. That's just me. And reviews have talked about the lack of accuracy of the Taurus Judge when shooting the .45 Colt chambering. That might be a function of the fact that it has a very long chamber, and then I don't have a 45 Colt round to load to check the distance. I mean, I'm sure there's someone online that's done this, but that round or the bullet's going to jump from the chamber in to the rifling of the bore, and that's going to degrade accuracy a little bit. I mean, it's a dual function gun. As such, it's a compromise. You know, if it was purely a shot shell proposition, we wouldn't have rifling, right? But we do have shallow rifling in the Taurus Judge, so it can shoot both rounds. And it needs that deep cylinder to accommodate the 2.5-inch long 410 shot shell. It's a compromise. So the POU is very limited. Recreational gun? Yeah, you could probably say that. In fact, I would think it'd probably be a fun gun to shoot. No, I haven't shot it yet. I would think it'd be fun. 410 shot shell, rock on. It'd be fun. 45 Colt, that's fun too. I've had friends that have had them. We shoot them, and they're fun. So you could probably add that to the POU. But it is very limited purpose in defensive use, and I think that's what a lot of guys are envisioning that they're going to use a gun for. They're going to say, yeah, this is like the ultimate dirty, hairy type gun, and I'm just going to be ruling the world with this thing. Well, I don't think so. We'll go as we go down. Talked about size and weight. 25 ounces for this one. The full size Taurus is 36 ounces. So that's really heavy, really big. This one is actually pretty reasonable. And with a 45 Colt chambering, expect some recoil with that lightweight. That's just the way it's going to be. 410 shot shell, probably not too bad. But lightweight, you bet. For as big as it is, they've done a real good job with the aluminum frame. And it's about as good as they can. So I think the weight issue is excellent for the size of it. However, we can't get past that bulk. It's going to be a very hard gun to conceal. Not hard to carry as long as you get an appropriate holster, but that's that. Firepower is extremely limited, 5 rounds. Okay, just like many of the revolvers. And I always think that is a disadvantage of the revolver type. I've said so in previous reviews. If you can live with it, rock on. And if you can practice and reload quickly, no problem. Accuracy, I kind of spoke to that already. The Taurus Judge is not known for its accuracy. I've heard guys shooting this and they're saying around 7 yards is kind of what they limit the gun to. Yeah, that's what I've heard. 7 yards, expect a group. If you get a good one, they can put it probably in a size like that. 45 Colt, I'm talking. You go beyond that, and then it really starts spreading the shots. The sights don't help. It's a fixed groove in the back and a fluorescent bead on the front. I have no problems with the bead, but the fixed groove on the back obviously gives you no adjustment, left, right, up, down, whatever. But that's kind of the POU. That's what Taurus intended. They intended this to be a close-range personal defense and or snake gun is what I think. So that rear sight groove goes in line with that, right? So accuracy, not impressive. Ergonomics, the rubber grip here is I think what Taurus calls it, is excellent. From my understanding, it will help soak up the recoil of the lightweight gun and the recoil of the 45 Colt. Comfortable. Like I've always said with these rubber grips, though, be careful because they do grab on clothing. If you are carrying in the waistband, if you can find a waistband holster that fits the Judge, then these rubber grips will catch on your clothing. As your shirt drapes over it and you bend over, it's going to catch, and therefore you could actually expose your weapon when you don't want to expose your weapon. That is always a disadvantage of pure rubber grips, and some of the reasons why I don't use them too much. Occasionally I will, depending on what the gun is and what its POU is. But ergonomics, so the handle is excellent. It feels good. The rubber grip feels good. The trigger is nice and smooth. I note no sharp edges around there. If you want to do the double hand hold like most folks will do, or if you're weird like me and curve that finger around the front of the trigger guard, you can do it smooth, not squared, which most would like probably. This one has a bobbed hammer, which again for the POU is probably okay. You know, what model is it? It's the 4510 that has the exposed hammer. It's also an Ultra-Lite version, the Taurus. And I would probably opt for that so I could thumb the hammer back and go into single action mode, thus dropping my pull to around 4 pounds. I think it's around a 9-pound double action pull on that. You could do that. Just an option. I generally don't like bobbed hammers. But again, getting back to the POU, close range within 7 yards, maybe that's appropriate. Especially if you want to fire with inside a pocket or something. Better be a big pocket because it's a big gun. So the trigger, by the way, on the double action only version, this one, is excellent. I don't detect any stacking. It's nice and smooth. Decent trigger. For what it is, it's decent. Talked about the sights. The overall feel in hand is actually pretty good. Like I said, the grip is excellent. The overall feel is good, and it is a little front heavy, but for a gun with this chambering, probably a good thing. Field strip and maintenance, really simple. It is a revolver. The only thing you're going to do is have to clean five of your chambering holes there as you clean your revolver. So a little bit extra work, not a huge deal. So simple, and that is a plus on any revolver, like I've said in previous reviews. Sorry about that. It's simple. So simple's good in a lot of ways. Accessories and versatility, probably a huge hit on this. I don't know of any accessories for it. Again, I'm not the Taurus Judge expert. Guys that own the gun may know that there's some accessories out there, different grip options perhaps, maybe a different sight option. However, with a frame groove on the rear sight, there's not a lot you can do with it. You could change your front blade. Why you would, I wouldn't know unless you wanted a tritium. But without a rear tritium one, it really doesn't serve a purpose in my opinion. So very limited. Versatility, very limited, as discussed in POU. Value, very limited as well. This is a used one. There's your price tag right there, $520. So, again, I hate to say prices because it goes up and down the spectrum. Could be higher, could be lower. This appears to be the used gun, as I've noted. You can also tell the scoring of the cylinder there. It's got powder discharge in around the forcing cone. So just a couple things that indicate that it's been fired, but that's not the best value in the world. I'd much rather spend my money for defensive purposes on any number of other guns besides the Taurus Judge. Call me crazy. Go down the list. You name it. Glock, SIG, Ruger, H&K, CZ. Any number of them I'd prefer over this. Now, someone will say, well, yeah, but it's a shot shell, and that shot shell could be very devastating, close range. Let me unclip from tripod, and I'll show you Taurus's catalog picture. And that's probably true. If you have a shot shell, there you have it. That's a close range shot. Heads as they advertise. There's that one model I was telling you about, the 4510 with a regular hammer. Still lightweight, 25 ounces. Put them back in. So yeah, you could do that. Make a case for the shot shell, but I'm not impressed. You need penetration for a bullet to do its job, and a shot shell, especially a 410, just is not going to get penetration, at least in that number of shot. Maybe buckshot, a little bit better. But close range, I guess it wouldn't matter that much. Within 3 feet, 7 feet. And from what I'm hearing, past probably around 10 feet, maybe 12 to 15 feet, you can pretty much forget about the shotgun pattern that comes out of here, or the shot shell pattern out of the Taurus Judge. It just opens up too much. It's only a 3-inch barrel, 2.5-inch barrel. So you can't expect it to hold a pattern like a regular shotgun. So it is a compromise, like we said. So value for around 5, a little bit more, not great in my opinion. I just have a dozen of other options I'd rather have before this. Durability and reliability, it's hard for me to speak to this because I don't have a lot of data on it. So I'm just going to kind of leave that. I don't know. I would suspect that it's going to be very reliable, very durable because of the Taurus name. Taurus is an excellent company. Like I've said in other reviews, I love Taurus. They're big Second Amendment supporters. They provide very high value gun options out there. I love their 1911s. I think those are super value 1911s. Wish I had one. But time will tell how the track record on the Taurus Judge, plays out. You're not going to see any police departments carrying this. You'll probably see it in some movies because it's visually impressive. Remember, when they want to make a movie, they want something visually impressive. They don't care about stopping power. They don't care about firepower. What they care about is how the gun looks on screen. That's why you see Desert Eagles in video games. That's why you see, apparently, the Taurus Judge. It's big, it's impressive, and it's different. Different's cool, especially when you're trying to make a movie. So don't buy off on the hype. Okay? It's kind of going back to, other reviews I've done. There's some things that are out there that are hyped, and everyone thinks they're cool because they saw it in a movie, saw it in a video game. Well, if you're getting it for the second kind of cool, fine. But don't say it's the best tool for the job unless it's in that very narrow POU that I say, snake killer or very close range personal defense. Maybe a home gun. It would not be a bad home defense gun. But again, close range. I'd rather have something I can make a headshot with at 25 yards. I don't think the Taurus Judge is it. So that's a quick review. Taurus Judge, there you have it. Finally, I can stop those emails. See ya.